that.
Okay, I think we're on in a surprisingly little lag.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was like 4 seconds.
Oh, wow. Very interesting.
Because my parents immediately heard. This parade is a silly thing.
Oh, yeah. And do the announce.
Do the Hingley things?
Geese.
On parade. Complete with, like, drum majors. Like, there's a human leading the parade, and the geese are just follow. There's bands, and the geese are just
That's really cute.
marching.
I will have to watch that later.
Not goose stepping. I have no idea why they call it that. I've never seen a goose do that.
Table's a little higher than it needs to be. And there we are. And since we're confirmed, good evening, Internet. It is 8:11 p.m. on Thursday, February 13th, 2020. Welcome to Thursday Thanatopsis. I'm your host, Mark Amsry, DJ Amstrack. That's Daniel. And tonight, we are going to be continuing Sunless Sea. What all did we get up to last time?
We did the job for Mr. Sachs.
I thought that was the week before last. Was that last week? Oh, wow, okay. So yeah, Mr. Sachs. And we wound up with a little snow child.
Yep.
Which is really sad. Steam self-updater.
Steam, no!
Not right now.
How about don't? How
Okay.
about try lucky don't?
Let's go ahead and get back into it.
The note still says next week, let's work for Santa. It did that, actually.
Oh, right. Would you check the audio balance? Because I had to make some large changes to that for the purpose of Mass Effect. And I don't know how other games will hold up. Fortunately, the change in question is a very simple one.
Okay, voice and music seem good.
Okay, then we should be fine. I guess that means that the game has been really, really quiet for a long time.
A long time?
Yeah. For like however long it's been.
I guess I'm a little quiet back here.
Yeah, but like, okay, so
Probably always like this.
so the game volume has been sitting at 30%, because it used to be that it would, you know, blow out the eardrums of headphone users and totally drown us out. However, yesterday, when I asked my mom to help me with audio balancing for Mass Effect, went in with that like it was, with the game volume at 30%, and it was basically inaudible. And I had to turn it all the way up 100% for it to become for it to reasonably match my voice. And so I was worried that other games might be far too loud to continue with the 100%, or that possibly, for whatever reason, switching between speakers and headphones changed something else about the way that the sound card handles the audio, and that playing on headphones might have just made it quieter for capture or whatever. But if it's at 100% right now and sounds totally fine, then yeah, we've just been capturing really quiet for however long since that's been the case.
Whoops.
Yep.
So that means that our watchers have probably been wondering what in the realm we were humming along to. Those eyes? Those look like eyes.
Those look like eyes. Okay. I left off last time, but that's not the tab that I wanted. Oh yeah, we also got that thing. No, not you. You. Because we now have the Judgment's Egg. So let us try it. A kind of desperate delight. Days pass. False stars fade. The Z is silent. At last you find her, calm and grave, standing at the bow. She turns. I can report success. I can. But I am uncertain now of the I. Who am I? My old soul is gone forever. I've another, one less combustible. No, there is little more I can say. I promised you I would keep no more of my own secrets, but I am another now. No, this is not some narrow slight. This is a holy mystery I would not curse you with. But you have my thanks always. Always and forever. Interesting.
Cross 3 secrets.
Yep. Alright, well, celebrate! The campaigner has changed. The irises of her eyes, which were brown, are now charred black. The flesh is shrunken on her bones. She's aged 10 years, but her back is straight and her voice is clear. Wine, she says incisively. Wine! You and the campaigner toast her rebirth. Not a rebirth, she corrects you. Perhaps a pre-death. Hush, don't look at me like that. I'm a realist. Have another glass of wine. She has survived. She has found a cure. If anyone could, she points out, it would be me, after all. You're lucky it was me who fell ill. Her wisdom has been tested, tempered, and not found wanting. Well, quite. But you were an invaluable assistant. A fine vintage, this. Another glass? You and she are safe. And all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well. Your very fine health.
And now you have an indomitable campaigner instead.
Ooh.
Who probably has interesting sets.
Indeed. Let's see how she compares to the Clattery Air. 6 and 6, 5 and 9. Yeah. Yes, please.
Oh wow, Monkey found me a bunch of hearts.
Mm-hmm. The Elegiac Cockatoo isn't terribly useful. Right now, at least.
It's 2 mirrors for a mascot.
Yeah, but the Blimmigan Gallivanter is 3 mirrors and 2 pages.
Hey, you're right. That cockatoo's kind of a little lame. Lame bird.
And those are the only 2 that I can speak to. The Gallivanter and the ferret.
The ferret doesn't do anything of use.
No, it doesn't.
It bites you.
Yeah.
That doesn't give you a wound, does it?
I don't know.
Just like a small animal bite. I doubt that counts as a wound.
Just to be annoying, it might.
It's probably just more like, ow! Little jerk.
Because, I mean, you know, the way that weasels take down the prey much larger than themselves, is just to bite and not let go. So if it wanted to, it certainly could inflict a wound.
Yeah, just give it as good as you get. It doesn't let go. Just start flicking it in one spot. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over.
Okay, I did submit all my port reports.
And eventually give up. Like one says, death by cranky ferret. What a way to go. The nibbling. Reminds me of what happens far too often in NetHack if you run into a floating eye without noticing. You get paralyzed and a newt shows up and nibbles you to death. Over like 50 odd turns during which you're unable to do a thing. Dang thing.
Alright.
Luckily the game speeds violently through it instead of making you keep hitting next. As, you know, like, the lizard misses and... Okay, so... I think you've chosen to help the snow child?
Mm-hmm. Which I forget where that takes me.
There's a city about kings where devils gather to rewrite the laws of nature. They'd be able to assist with this game for a price.
Right.
Like one says, you know you've played too much NetHack when you break into a cold sweat at the sight of an email address. That could be anyone. That could be like a person. That could be maybe like a nurse. There's a lot of things in that century. I'm much more worried about HTTP get all those ampersands, man. You ever know when one of those jerks is Jubilex or something?
You know, it would probably be a good idea for me to dedicate some time to sea monster hunting so that I can get that last replace that last freaking tomb colonist.
Sea monster hunting.
Mm-hmm.
17 candles.
Yep.
19 Scintillac.
Yep. No, 10 Scintillac.
Oh, 10 Scintillac. Something that looks a lot like a Tale of Terror, but I'm guessing isn't.
That's the Whispering Trophy case.
Is that Icarus in black?
What? Yes.
Oh! Okay.
You remember us getting that last time?
I knew we built one of the silly super weapons, didn't realize it was that one.
Yep.
Possibly should have held off on that.
Eh.
Save the cargo slot.
Well, that's the thing. We spent cargo that had been taking up a lot of space to make it.
No. There's a flare sitting there.
Mm-hmm. Got 5 romantic literature.
That was for something.
And 2 approved romantic literature.
those happened. What was the... you need to take 5 romantic literature and a coffee to Khan's heart. For some reason.
Didn't I already do that?
I have 5 romantic literature on you, so I'm guessing you haven't used it yet.
I think that was the reward for something. Because what was it that I needed the literature and coffee for?
Oh, that's incredibly hard to answer. Let's see. Snow Child, Question of Blood, Snow Child, Rising, Dream Christmas. Romantic literature. I'm sure it's not used for too many things. It's sold for 22 echoes. In Port Cornelian and the Parliament of Flies. And Merchant Venture 1-7. Oh! You might have gotten 5 more for the Presbyterian Adventurers storyline.
That's certainly possible.
So the revenue can approve it, which results in approved romantic literature, which, well, the Adventurer's Desires will take, and that you can sell for 22 echoes.
What?
Your 2 approved ones?
Mm-hmm.
I think you might just want to sell them in London.
Sell them in London?
Wolfsack Exchange.
Okay. Not sure where they came from.
The revenue men caught you with non-approved romantic literature and stamped it for you at a cost. Pretty small cost, too.
I still have 5 unapproved romantic literature, though.
Yes, those you might be doing something with.
I'm pretty sure those were in the... No, it wasn't from Mr. Sachs. It was something else that resulted in me... Maybe it was from Mr. Sachs. I don't remember.
I don't see anything that gives you 5 romantic literature. The Liver Blumigans can give you 1. The Widower, give him the box, can give you 9. Civilized Exchange of Gifts, in return for a pot of prisoners honey, can give you 2. Assisting at the Innocence Hospital, rooting out a reckless poet, can give you 1. And a Whisper-locked puzzle box can give you 10. So no, you bought those for a reason. One or more of those you might have gotten from places, but I think you bought a couple of others because you needed them for something. Which I'm guessing was the Abbey Rock quest, because that's the only thing that needs 5.
Ah, Abbey Rock. Okay.
But I'm not sure why we need to bring 5 and coffee to Khan's heart.
Is there anything else needed for the Abbey Rock thing? Because that's the Presbyterian Adventuress, right? Continuing her. Okay. That was the only thing I needed there?
Do you use the Presbyterian Adventurers by any chance? No? Okay.
Not currently.
Just check, because in case you forgot, you are trying to help her get herself killed.
Mm-hmm.
So you will not have her anymore. Unless you pay a stupidly high price to the Fathom King to get her back.
Will she be upgraded at that point?
don't remember.
Because, like, progressing the stories of these crew members seems to be how you upgrade them. And getting her killed is where her story is taking her. Okay, well, anyway.
Anything else you might need to do in... Let's see. We won't fight you. Appropriate texts. There must be music and fire and promise. Yeah, it looks like you take it to Abbey Rock.
Alright. Oh, I should repair before I set out.
And I think you might want to sell some of that Scintillac. If I recall correctly, that Scintillac is the end of that silly loop involving sapphires, muter salt, and Scintillac.
Okay. And London is the place to sell that, right?
It's certainly a good one.
Are there better?
Technically, but good luck rolling House of Pleasures. What? Oh, that's out of control. You can multiply repeatedly. If you can get Rack prospering, Hull Harvest has caskets of sapphires available for Scintillac. The sapphires are then multiplied into muter salts at Hideaway, as long as Hideaway still exists and you haven't finished this story. Muter salt is convertible into Scintillac at Anth in the stone market.
Triangle trade! Wait.
But instead of rum and Bibles and slaves, it's sapphires, salt, and memories. Captain Coral. That's weird.
Coral? Okay, well anyway, for the moment, yes, I'm going to repair the ship.
Hail London. Hail Hideaway. Who stinketh the most?
That was loud.
Oh, shoot, sorry. This is 1776 reference. Triangle Trade song.
Okay.
But yeah, go ahead and sell the Scintillac.
Oh, well, I mean, I already left now, so.
Oh. Well, maybe you'll roll Parliament of Flies down in Diamond Republic.
Yeah. Excuse me. What's the exchange rate of Scintillac for sapphires at Rack? 1-to-1? Okay.
I would have called it a multiplier or a divider.
Okay.
Nightshade says for auto host, that's gonna have to be a DJ mod for that notification too.
Okay. Cool. Thank you. Return him to the hold.
Oh, if only you hadn't broke Arches yet.
Yeah.
Scintillate can be... You can then multiply again at the Temple of Mir, trading one Scintillate for 2 outlandish artifacts. 200 echoes with Scintillate Alarming Scout, like 100 each.
Ah.
An excellent deal compared to selling it at Wolfsack for 70.
Mm-hmm. Strange catch. Awesome.
Good 40-ish% more. That is a strong.
Appropriate texts. Perfect. There must be music, too, and fire, and a promise. We can take care of those. We begin at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. 7s are important. In the Abbey courtyard, the sisters are heaping up driftwood for a fire. The adventuress claps a hand on your shoulder. That gives me, 12 hours? Come on, let's go back to the ship. I don't want to spend my last 12 hours in this hole. She is flushed, eyes bright, mouth tight. Record her memories of her travels. Record her memoirs about her homeland. Spar with her.
Your brother Jerry sends deep into the Elder Continent.
Wait. Why do I also need the Indomitable Campaigner for this? For this option.
Sounds like an interesting night.
Yeah, but I'm married, so...
Oh wait, that should be a 0 there.
What should be 0 there?
Requirements are learning about frustrated adventures, 300, risk campaigner 0, 0 risk campaigner, 0 indomitable.
Yeah, but it says unlocked with 1 Indomitable Campaigner.
Oh, there's 2 different... Oh my god. There's 3 different versions. Oh boy. So there's why not? Which is if you don't have the risk campaigner. If you do have the risk campaigner, sorry I've had a better offer. Someone who understands death, but who can bring me luck is her. A rap on the door, risk campaigner. That's his marching at you. Back by midnight, the adventure says, we're going to pick it up. She's back just after midnight. Same effects with the indomitable campaign. That's amusing. Doesn't look like it has an effecty effect though. It has 6 out to 400, that 6 out to 500. Don't know what that difference is. Weakness in 405.
Well, my inclination is to record her memoirs about her homeland. I'm gonna go record my life real quick, though, after I scratch this itch on my leg.
The other choices yield stuff like a secret and appointed pages, an outlined artifact.
Okay. Be right back.
Oh, I think I was looking at the wrong thing. Yeah, I was dying the 3rd time. Okay, what the heck does 400 do?
400 what?
The value of this thing. 400, she sought comfort with a companion. Tomorrow, fight such as adversaries like Iraq. 500, she's ready to fight. 1,000, she died in combat. 2,000, you watched. Okay. So, does that do anything? Guess it gives you the. No, you don't know your name. Who knows? Maybe the game's just tracking it too weird.
Could be.
Because, yeah, that's a little bit of inside butt ball. Okay, so your options here. The difference between them is the rewards. You get access to secret mirrors and some Z stories, secret pages and some memories of distant shores, or secret and iron. Or having her sleep with someone doesn't really result in any reward, just an amusing side, just amusement.
Okay. So, about her homeland is pages.
Let's see. Travels is mirrors. Yeah, homeland is pages. And you can guess what Sparring does.
Yeah. Alright. Kingdom of Life. Each presbyter is different, but each takes the identity of the last. Presbyters never truly die, even after 1,000 years. At their deaths, they give up their names to join the college, who live nameless. The rebels who serve the Thief of Faces, they live faceless. I'm no friend to the college, you know that, but they have served our realm well. They are just... It's true, we eat the flesh of the beasts we hunt, as do you, but we kill nothing that flies. The story is that they carry the airs of the garden that permit us to live forever. But I think it's sentiment. I think the mountain dreams of flight. She speaks casually, but now and then a tear crosses the sharp planes of her face to fall unnoticed into the dark.
The other interesting option, record memories of her travels, goes Zaylor's Tales. A ship of lights, beautiful as a palace, until we heard the screams across the water. The heptacheer rose like a moon, fingers flexing huge as rowboats.
Heptakyre.
The rats singing the hymns of their ancestors, until they sank one by one.
Like Hekatonkyre.
Right. When the way to the Ragged Crow opened...
Or Hekatonkire.
When the way to the Ragged Crow opened, and we went up the stairs together to the light, the days before the dawn machine, when the passage was calm and dark. Strange.
Yeah.
Those were 7 Z stories.
Okay, a black spit of an eye. Oh yeah, that's just the... Don't watch. The fire is lit. The smoke of printed love stories rises into the dark. The sisters chant in a language older than London. They play a wistful, halting music on harps and lyres. The adventuress has her uniform ironed. Even her buttons are polished. Her knife is ready in her left hand and her pistol in her right. Far above, in the deep night of the Neath, something briefly occludes the light of the false stars. Go back to the ship, she says abruptly. I don't want you to see me die. Please. Or watch. Insist. Someone should bear witness. Or perhaps someone is just curious or doesn't quite trust her even now. I'll grant her wish. I feel like I ought to. That's my instinct anyway.
Ah! Oh. Good cry.
Bun bun.
It would do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so the difference. I'm having trouble bringing up the rest of the page, but. Honestly, wasn't I? Yeah, having a dash of trouble bringing up the rest of the page, but. The difference is you get more terror and like a secret or something if you watch. And possibly some iron? Ooh, where the food and bloop and bloop.
So should I watch then?
No, I'm having trouble with this. This is dopey.
Doesn't mean secrets.
Yeah, here we go. Magic Lasher. Appropriate texts. Yeah, there we go. Don't watch. 1 terror, 1 outlandish artifact. If you do watch, you get a description of the battle, 20 terror, an outlandish artifact, a secret, oh, and a searing enigma.
Ooh. Okay then. I guess I should watch. Nothing that flies. The light of the fire turns ice blue, roars to greater brightness. The adventuress turns her back on you. She readies her knife and her pistol. I once swore, she remarks, to kill nothing that flies. I hope I break that oath. They will be her last words. A piece of star-specked night falls shrieking from the roof. The bonfire is quenched in an instant, but a gout of flame from the pistol punctures the dark. Once. Again. The night is screaming now, deep rending cries that are almost words. The scent of ice and ozone is overpowering. You reach out a hand blindly. The darkness deepens, but a sister takes hold of your shoulder. Stay away, she hisses. The adventuress cries out. So does the night. This last shriek squeezes your skull and rakes your brain and tears the words from your throat. It cracks the cobblestones of the abbey yard. In the flames of a final shot, you glimpse a crested wave of night rearing above the adventuress. Its wings are the sky. Its horns and veins blaze with scars. It strikes. It convulses. It whirls and it's gone. Your eyes are hazed with frost, but as it rises, you are quite certain it lurches to the side, as if one of its wings had suffered a blow. On the cracked cobbles at your feet lies the adventuress, dead eyes staring. Beside her lies her pistol, silver-chased, drenched in black blood. As you watch, the blood wisps in choking vapor from the metal, leaving it stained dark as the Z.
That pistol is the outlandish artifact in question.
Makes sense. Pilot report. Watch the convent. 5 fragments. Not going to offer them news. There's better places to do that. And now I suppose I'll sail about looking for Z-Beasts.
You do have business in the... Oh, you're probably going to wait till you're low on gas, aren't you?
Do what?
Dan Republic?
Oh, right. Yeah. So let's see. Let's Z. Yeah. I'm definitely wanting to hit places where I can beachcomb as well. So that'd be Mangrove College. I also want to go to the Udder Shroom so I can trade a strange catch for a live specimen. So perhaps I should... Shepherd Isles, Station 3, Zealport, Rack.
Oh, you were getting romantic literature and coffee from Consart.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense. Oh, and Admiralty data polythene.
Ah, okay. Then, yeah, that is another convenient stop on this tour.
If you have some coffee with you and you land in your shrimp ramp, let's go for an archive delve.
I don't have any coffee, but I could pick some up at the Khanate.
Well, shrimp chander's not anywhere on your way.
Okay.
Yeah, I keep calling it that. Yeah, I'm not gonna stop. No longer need to bring Zoop and 12 dice to the iron code, which as you have super done.
All right. Picking up a long box from Fieldhaven, from Shepherd Isles. What did that take again? Was it just money, or did I need an item of some sort to trade for it? No, Shepherd Isles. Hunting trophy. Okay, yeah, I have plenty of those.
Much cheaper than 3 secrets of Dirham.
Mm-hmm.
Why in the realm would you pay a captivating treasure to get one from Iron Republic? Why? That's 1,000 echoes. It's stupid. Ooh, some candlelit shop in Wander Khan's Heart event. I can let you buy one for 77 echoes. And yeah, something awaits you to let you buy one for a hunting trophy at Wells. Rarely you can get it in 1 terror from Vanderbite. And of course, a cache of curiosities will occasionally contain. Oh wow, cache of curiosities equals 49. I think that might be a 1 in 100. Maybe 1 in 50?
There we go. Duck. Long box.
Very wildly, and it looks like it's a D50. So yeah, 1 in 50. A Hessian bundle. A long locked box. Yep. Drop blowguns all over the place like a jerk face.
Crib. Just delivering him to Station 3. It's right there. Butchers. Suitable for smoking. Better than nothing.
If you just can't get enough you just can't get enough.
Oh. Chill of avid horizon runs deep in Rose's lockray, but even such primal cold cannot last forever. Rose has something to show you. Rose hurries you into the cargo hold. The walls are covered with charcoal marks. See, I'm shorter today. It is only a centimeter shorter than the previous mark, if that, but the worry is real. Every day it melts a little more. Oh boy. And I don't know where that thing left. Oh! Gangway! The monkey foundling barrels down the corridor at full speed, giggling and clutching something in her hand. Rose follows cold on her heels, panting desperately between cries of, "Give, he, hack, hey, eat!" Yeah, no.
Ah, she took its teeth. Its teeth. Oh boy.
You make the pair of them stand outside your cabin, both holding a heavy bucket of water in each hand while you work through the day's paperwork. The snickering and half-hearted whispering suggests neither is quite getting into the spirit of their punishment. This becomes particularly clear when you push open the slightly ajar door, only to be treated to a sudden ice-cold shower from a carefully placed bucket. Two giggles disappear down opposite corridors, hurrying for hidey holes in which to weather the coming storm. Now one of this, Tooth of the Snow Child.
Strange.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't get enough Scintillac, taking out a Lorn fluke and bringing the principles to the core, or getting a piece of heart metal out of your long box and taking it out to the principles, or if you happen to have and have not already turned in an ambiguous eolith, which I think you have at least two.
Cool. That's a Zub.
That was a Zub.
Mm-hmm.
Look at its silly design.
Negotiate a surrender. 3 supplies, 3 fuel. There's a returning flash from a lantern. You swim the brief gap between your vessels. Hollow-eyed, the captain hands you the remnant of the undergalley's provisions, but refuses rescue. The captain turns and motions his crew to begin repairs, but by the time you return to your sub, the sea before you is dark. Royal Hull. Six echoes. Oh boy. Apart from the Fair King. Compile a port report. Go wrecking. Gators mourn. I'm cool with sending pirates here. On the bone. White walls. They're almost glowing in the light. There's the vibrant lady of the house. Her red hair stands out prettily against the white walls, her face freckled like the night sky, her cheeks flush as you carry the pails of milk into the kitchen. She coughs 2 times as you pass. She'll sneak out at the second bell tonight. She bites her lip. That bite, do you recognize it? It's familiar somehow. Have you seen something of the vibrant lady in the Fair King? The Fair King slowly bites his lip. Like that? He wheels closer to you and touches your wrist. He smiles enigmatically. Here we are again. The king kisses your hand and squeezes it gently. Huh. Gained 1 hearts. Okay.
Change.
Let's look at the mirror. Look at him again. Okay, that's the same as it was before. But it gives me a move in the great game, so that's cool. Next was going to be Port Cecil.
And Father's Bones is going to be interesting.
I still need that heart, don't I?
Yep. Interestingly enough, they had given up either the pirate boat, the Modiste, or both to that boat.
Yep.
One of those hearts was vice.
Yep, as I had surmised.
You could give him the Heart of Mountain Nomad, but I don't recommend it. Or you could do the hard thing and give him a certain spider.
And how would I get that spider?
By defeating a big boat piloted by spiders.
Oh, that!
The Tree of Ages.
Yeah.
assumption because he can buy another one for cheap. Ish. It's thousands, but thousands of items.
Yeah.
He straight up will not take Icarus in black, which is funny. Plexi, I present the Icarus in black, a gun that fires monster hunters. I think you've already given him the hand. And I think a mountain shirt.
Yeah, mountain shirt. One of your crew strays too far from the group. You never know why. You don't know what's happened until you hear him cry out. As your crew rushes to assist, there's another cry from behind you. Another Zaylor vanishes into the darkness. You glimpse a writhing coil of limbs and the glitter of eyes, and the beast is gone. The beasts. There must be at least 2 of them. Who knows how many more. You retreat with haste to the ship, eyes wide, though you see nothing more of the predators. Perhaps their hunger is satisfied. Yeah, at least I got a tale of terror out of it. That's something. It's not much. Okay, next stop, Godfall. Hopefully I will spy an eel on my way. Yep, there it is. Just as I had hoped.
Mountain shirt got you.
It's gonna hurt.
Techniques lost to the endless universe.
Ah, right at the edge. That was not a great exchange. Butcher it.
Yes!
Yes!
One corner!
Cask of wine.
Farts! Oh, that's a butt sampler. I don't like it.
No. Bonfire is not a bonfire, but a sulphurous rent in the Z floor. The dancers are not dancing, but are drifting back and forth, so many corpses in a fickle current. The whole place is a play, a jest for the king of drownies, a parody of the surface.
Mirrors, then. Yeah, can't beat him. Neither of them grant mirrors, so... Does she? Through the window in the stone, you see something pacing back and forth, but you can't make out anything about them. Male or female, human or something other. Investigate the calendar. Failed. Will soon be the Feast of All Shrieks, and then St. Egidus's Day. Is every season and none. Yep. Had that one before. All the clarity. The log tells of a harrowing stay in Dahut. The writer could not see the enthralling visions of the cathedral and the rose garden that fascinated all of her shipmates. The Drownies dragged her into the cathedral crypt and secured her there so that she could tell no one what she saw. There she remained for many months. Now and then new prisoners arrived. Occasionally the Drownies would take a few prisoners out to be turned into Drownies themselves, but she remained, unable to leave, until one of the Drownies took pity on her and left a key in her reach. Consider attending the midwinter emptying of the prison. At midwinter, the inhabitants of Dahut go below to see which prisoners are ready to leave the breathable water. They sing songs of failure and disgrace, and then the Drownies accept applications for escape. I need the Song of Broken Hulls from Rack. My clarity isn't enough to see everything. Okay, hold on a sec. Let me see if I can... Yes, more clarity. Now do it. See everything. You can see this place for what it really is. Here are the prisoners of Dahut, a merchant who falsified his accounts so entirely and so often that he himself has no idea of his true debts. He believes he is a rich man.
A devil who has forgotten that he is a devil, almost, as long as he keeps away from mirrors, or bottled souls, or honey. A poetess, a veteran of London salons, who cannot bear to hear herself praised, because she knows how slight her talent is. The Drownies invited her to a feast. When they applauded her composition, she became savage, and now she lies on an iron bed with her face to the wall. A secret in 100 fragments. Let's buy some more fuel. And proceed to polythreme. Gather intelligence. Contact. Strategic information. Tale of terror. Please, wheezes a voice from within the mounds of clothing. Take it. I need to pay my debt. It seems that the clothes, mostly gloves you see, are more wearing than being worn. The pale and sweating fellow within is a prisoner of his wardrobe. Take the report, though your fingers may shrink from the touch of the living cloth that binds him. Return to London, and perhaps you'll help him pay what debt he owes.
Okay, so the reason Searing Enigmas are worth so much is because at Codex you can buy Doom Monster Hunters with them.
Ah.
Doom Monster Hunters load in Icarus in Black, which does 500 life damage. 50 hull damage, but that's a waste.
Mm-hmm.
It has a 10-second warm-up time. And 6 seconds of staggering.
Nice.
It's staggering. You'll be unable to sit up or stand down. Because you'll be shooting.
Yes.
Desperately at the thing you're trying to kill.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't think I needed Stygian Ivory for anything else. Is this a good place to sell? Or did I need them for something else?
I'm currently doing a little research on the mountain mine.
It's the best price that we've recorded, and it's easy enough to come by. I'll go ahead and sell them.
Does this thing not use torpedoes?
So what thing not use torpedoes? The Memento Mori?
Yeah.
I don't know.
It looks like not. It's just a forward cannon that does 19 to 25,
Gotta be.
27, 37, 4 crew damage, and 2 second stagger. Crimson Black is also a forward gun. Ah! Can't dual wield them. Ah, too bad. Let's see. Can I assume we have a Hell Thrasher denunciation? Hell Thrasher is 18%.
Okay, I only have one strategic information right now.
I think he requires torps.
Okay.
Okay, you're going to sell Stygian.
Yep, which I already did.
Oh.
Like I said, Polythreme is the best price for it. I just wasn't entirely sure whether...
Oh, you need to collect 40 for the Terrace Mechanics.
40? Well, I can come by more later. I need to collect the scattered things and people. So, like the prisoner from the prisoner from Wisdom, the thing that he hid at the race castle place. Butcher for supplies, unprepossessing mass, suitable for smoking. Alright. Pick up a passenger. A checkered character. Compile a port report. Go beachcombing. Nasty glob of goo. Choice cuts. Does nothing. Into the wispways.
All of those are for making the function impellers. Yeah, save the guy from these first. There are 4 main types of weapons on the Zete: cannons, torpedo launchers, flensing weapons, and Icaruses in black.
Half-material strands of blue-black light hang between the trees. Something straight out of the realm of dreams to spin this. Its touch drinks life. Find a way around. Failed, lost a crew. You crash ill-temperedly through spined weeds and stinging mosses. Blue-furred apelings hoot mockingly. The mud bubbles like a dying soldier. Someone's missing! Someone's missing!
I saw phosphorescence.
Yeah, I remember that.
Whoop!
An arbifaction. Limbs twined with vines, flesh already lignifying into dark wood. The corpse's mouth hung open. Where its face dissolved into the bark, its expression was still visible. Rapture. Whatever had happened to this poor soul, whoever they had been, they had welcomed their end. Solace fruit hung in parasitic clusters from its woody torso. Had they occurred before or after the corpse's transformation? We found, too, a mask, one of those worn by the folk of Visage, a green and gold livery bird, one of the humble trapper caste. Outlandish artifact and solace fruit. Let's go again. Use up those candles. A calamity of ants!
That's a great name for a group of ants.
You leap and dash, you slap the horrid things from your calves, you suck bitten fingers and stare around panting. You're out of danger. Back to the abandoned fort. No one's orchard. The bark was scarified with marks resembling writing. A lump of flint lay at the base of the tree. The flint was a tool. Or was the flint a tool or merely a rock? It was impossible to be certain. The solace fruit, too, which grew on the tree. They are parasitic, and I think I remember this one from previously.
Sweet. Another ambiguous eelith. Now you have 2.
And 3 solace fruit.
Now you have 8. Yeah, I do saw it in there. We'll check what we can solace fruit.
Let's see. Utter Shroom is next.
Well, they're worth 50 a pop, so that's 400 echoes in your hold.
Nice.
And Guider's Mourn, they can be got 2 for a Drowning Pearl from that guy collecting pearls. It's used in the Brisk Campaigner's storyline, but it's done. The Merciless Mighties wants one of these for dinner for Zoot.
And that storyline is also done.
So it is 400 echoes. And pot pants.
Cool.
Guider's Mourn, the Errant Lippet, Dockside Market at Park and I, or back in London.
Alright.
It's cash!
Cool. Get out of my nose. Ignoring them because, as I discovered, the trying the other option. I don't want to fight you, or Tremaran. I don't want to make an enemy of the Khanate.
What the heck is that? Oh, is that Fire Icarus in black?
Which one? Because I don't have it equipped.
Clear.
No, that's use a Radis Faber assistant.
Oh!
Okay, gather intel.
This little portable holder there, guys.
Yep.
That you have in a hold, they're kind of worth over really worrying. If you plan on going off the fights. Oh, it's definitely cannon dude. So you got a Health Thrasher or a Denunciation.
Health Thrasher, yeah.
And either...
And a Damnation on the aft. A Damnation on the aft.
So strong butt gun, 8 seconds turn.
Mm-hmm.
Horrible placement, barely usable.
Yeah. But if I'm trying to flee something, it's good to have.
You know, you could use it pretty well in combo with flares. Now I think about it. Because the reason it doesn't charge too quick is because it's not in, whatever it's pointing at is not in your prow light.
Mm-hmm.
Without being lit up, it doesn't charge very quick. However, if you popped a flare, when you boated away from the thing chasing you, it would be nice and lit up, and you could blast it with the Damnation for a solid 28 life damage.
Yeah. It should be 36 to 48.
That is before your iron modifier.
Right.
See that plus 14 from iron?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which could be higher. It's currently 85. I say it'd be over 100. Because you have respect for doing something.
Tasting it, he makes a strangled noise. Have you poisoned him? No, no, or if so, poison of the finest sort, like bee stings and sugar, or honeyed scalpels. Yes, this. This!
A sharp flavor.
A squelch, then a quivering thunk. The bandaged poissonnier has thrown a strange catch across the galley, and then a knife. Is something wrong? The ingredients are fine. It is my hands that are deficient. There are piquant jewels hiding in the vitals of these creatures, but I cannot extract them. One slip, and the taste is contaminated. He paces the galley. I need to improve my butchery. Can you take me to the Kellinate? No one knows more about gutting than the Bone Man.
Stenchland? Right.
I'll take you there later, but I'm glad to be on to that next step.
Oddly enough, the damnation is not much stronger than discouragement. 1 more crew damage and 4 more base damage. How the heck you can't show me? How about this image of anchor and tentacle? I don't know.
Crib. Oops.
Hello, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
How it does go? Health Thrasher is... Let's charge it.
Butcher it. A curious sack. Z-eggs. Call them Z-eggs.
Eggs.
1 supplies. Okay.
Vandersnash. That's a gun. Forward gun that is stronger than the Memento Mori. What makes the Memento Mori nicer is the iron mirror. Oh, never mind. Also, Memento Mori fires 4 times. So 2432. Yeah, more like 80, 12, 128. 92, 128.
80, 12.
Bandersnatch is a slow gun. Oh, wait, I'm looking at stagger. Never mind. Oh. Okay, so you're definitely looking at the wrong part of the thinger. Memento Mori is significantly stronger. Except against boats. Ah. Slightly weaker. There we go. My -10 against boats, -2 against flesh, and 6 seconds less of stagger. It just doesn't require computers. Still a decent gun and a good way to get rid of your seal of the red sign you'll be carrying around this whole time.
Mm-hmm. I've been singing your praises to Leopold. Isery's eyes warm at the name. You could almost envy the Pirate King, almost. I would like to introduce you to him. Yes, I think it is time. You agree to the courtesies now that I have something awaits me. Fetch me someone who has very recently been up to the surface. Leopold rather fancies surface memories, you know. Maybe you don't, but it is true nonetheless. Your patron dismisses you with the advice that the Cumaean Canal is the likeliest place to source such a particular gift.
They want you to kidnap someone from...
I mean, I've been to the surface pretty recently. I could spin him all sorts of tales of the surface. Or visions of the surface, rather.
Yeah, you got like dozens of those things. Like,
yeah.
Here's 4. Enjoy! Bye!
Oh yeah, and I think last time I determined that choosing the bat option in Visage guarantees I get kicked out the first thing that I do, because it's always going to be wrong.
Not 100%, it's just difficult. You may instead want to go as something else to the Library of Parts and increase your knowledge in parts.
Oh wait, I don't have a something awaits me anyway. So never mind. Off to the Fathom King's hold. Next time. Gadget. Next time.
But yeah, where the Memento Mori really comes into play is that it's the best thing you can give to the Fathom King for a miracle of science.
Oh.
Because you're, if you make the Fulton Impeller, that's not crazy replaceable. I think Memento Mori is also irreplaceable, but you can buy a gun stronger than it. It just requires torps.
Gotcha.
And how many of those have you collected, and how cheap?
I remember I actually sold quite a few of them.
I can sell.
Yeah.
Neat.
Or like someplace wanted them for something, so I freely gave them.
Yeah, they're 5 echoes a pop.
Yeah.
They're not blood. Man,
Yeah,
I ain't blood.
pretty good at that.
Oh yeah, watch your gas, you don't.
Yep. Thankfully, I am not far from the Iron Republic. Straight for drowning pearls this time. 30 drowning pearls. Hot dog. Report, report.
Wow, the first time you dine with the irrepressible cannoneer, you need 5 supplies, 10 fuel, and 5 torpedo components.
Mm-hmm.
Why does he want to eat torpedo components?
He doesn't want to eat them. It's part of the story. Like he's going to do some sort of arms demonstration. Or something like that.
So you've gotten sealed red science from his demonstration at Estival. So you need seal and another jag. Crud, you need another judgment tag.
Yup. I was telling you I needed 2 of those.
I knew that, didn't remember it was for this.
Yep.
give a whole lot about your current vote.
Estimate the wreckage. Some sort of barrel. Mushroom wine. Cool.
Wine.
Wee.
What was your mom said she was going?
To pick up Melissa.
Hello?
Hello. A spy.
You're a
Catch
spy.
them! Catch them!
Succeeded!
Yes!
The haunted doctor is different. The determined doctor makes no plea, no apology, no excuse. He holds his hands out for the irons and is escorted to the brig with his head held high. The determined doctor stands as the door opens, irons clinking on his wrist. His eye is defiant. The cold sweat on his brow tells a different story. Why? Why would a man throw a life preserver to a drowning child? The determined doctor looks up, revolutionary fervor in his eye. You were not there, citizen, or you would know. Our only salvation is in anarchy, in burning London, bringing down the Khanate, in sealing the Cumaean Canal, taking back what is ours. They understand that. In the shadow, they understand. Good grief, has this man ever found a cause he didn't immediately embrace? He only did what he thought was right. If he swears never to repeat this, his honor will hold him to it. Pass judgment. I'm gonna argue with him. For a moment, it is as if you have got through to him. But no, a man who would fall so quickly from worshipping sorrow spiders into the crooked clutches of the Calendar Council and still be instantly won over by a bunch of Kaganian anarchs is a man with an impenetrable sense of homilies and self-justification. I did what I must, says the doctor, his solitary eye staring past your ear. I could have done no less. Try to deal with him. Please understand, there was no pleasure or satisfaction in what I did. It was only with the bitterest regret and for the greatest good that I betrayed your trust. But I cannot swear that, citizen. I must continue to act as my conscience demands, as must you with yours. You will speak no false promises to spare my neck. Or, I will speak no false promises to spare my neck. Well, that only leaves one option. The determined doctor does his best to look defiant, but is unable to hide his nervous trembling.
I think you wanna keep...
Oh, yeah? I have 3 doctors. And he's the least good one, but if I can do something else with him later, that will be interesting. I suppose I can hang on to him.
He does have a lot of hearts on him. He's a 9-heart, 3 pages doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And it upgrades to 6/6 apparently.
6/6 is what the unupgraded Clattery Air is.
So, following his stuff around, looks like it will net you... Steering Enigma. Oh, for London, Interactions, Cold Reality. Okay. Okay, right. Spy walks the thing, difficult conversation. Blah 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 derp 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 derp.
I need to sneeze. He is trapped.
No.
You up and lose him if you put him in the brig.
Right. Okay. Good luck.
Keep him and learn your secret soon.
Okay, I guess I'll keep him.
Doctor 25, check on. Learning becomes 26. Then you get the long talk options.
It does not seem much of a punishment. Still, the doctor's face sinks into gloom. Was he hoping to be a martyr for his latest cause? Is he simply sick that he will be unable to help his anarch friends? It matters not. The irons around his wrists are removed. He is free to resume his duties, at least for the moment.
Ooh, it takes a lot of heart to see the great games you make. Gives Supremacy London up to 3 or higher. Wait, I'm saying name. She says, too much screen time. I'm perceived by I should probably get out of the apartment. I've been cooped up in here too long. Cooped up like a chicken.
Cluck, cluck. And he continues.
He's thinking of getting some McDringus and hanging out.
Sure.
Sounds awesome.
Come on. Shaman.
It took me a moment to understand what you meant by McDringus. Indeed I do. But Drangus and Donald took like about 3/4 of a second to try a connection with him. Oh.
The guard reports that the doctor has barely spoken since returning to work. He certainly has not smiled. He goes through the motions solely in the hope of being left alone, away from the scorn and suspicion of the crew. His patients leave mended, more or less, but their sutures are poorly stitched, their medications miscounted, and their bones carelessly set. The crew grumbles. A word must be had. Ooh, it takes 3 moves in the great game to do that. And 175
And a lot of
hearts.
Oh, wait, you can London? You've already got supremacy up there?
Significant.
Why can you tell it's negative?
Because it says you have
You
this.
have this. Neat. You got supremacy London up to 5, I guess.
His problem is that he keeps choosing unworthy causes. Perhaps he can be pushed to a worthy one for once.
Yeah, we can make him work for London.
Yeah.
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 Over a meal of Z-trout and wine, you do your best to bring him round. Is the world perfect? No. Neither Surface nor Neath will ever make that claim. Is all well in London? Hardly. He's not wrong there. However, you point out, he has a better chance than most to put his unquestioned skills to use in the name of all her people. And his regrets? Well, to do something terrible for one's country is barely a matter for shame at all. He looks up. Something in his eye is gone, possibly forever. You're right, of course. Perhaps I shall put about inquiries the next time we are in port. For now, though, I will return to my duties. There, at least, I know that I can serve with a measure of honor. Here, they gave me this in the shadow. It is not fitting that I keep it. May you use it better than I would. Searing Enigma. Disillusioned Doctor.
Oh yeah, this was the guy that was, like, kept by spiders for years, wasn't he?
Mm-hmm. Heart 6, pages 6.
Steve says, I could have said I was going to get some McDonald's.
Whack-Donalds.
And I responded, some Dick Ronaldos. Then she responded, McDeo's. You thought you were getting Wendy's, but it was us! McDeo's!
Nice. Actually, wait, at sea, I'll keep her up there. Keep her as the chief engineer.
And Steve says, okay, shower and food. Just don't do those at the same time.
Probably wise not to.
It could get soggy.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Soggy like a drowny's butt. Could you save so much time? Yeah, Ninja Sex Party did have a song about eating in the shower. I recall the video involved a pizza.
He does not come on deck anymore. He is light as a scarecrow, all hollow inside. A sudden pitch would cast him overboard. The blackness of his cabin is alleviated only by the sigil glow, smugly violet. Since King Eater's castle, he can feel the pull of the sea under his skin. He sees its changes like storms on the horizon. He can find a path by spilling blood in the waters and watching its churn. He tells you secrets. Mirrors. Improving my mirrors so I can be ready for Ice Castle Place.
Frostbound.
Frostbound.
Alright, Frostbound.
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 Okay, off to Iron Republic.
Bird time.
For some reason.
Bird time.
I want a snack, but I think I'm out of cookies.
Get out, sandwich. Bird time.
What?
I'm sorry, I was getting a little too apparent. Eat a ham sandwich. Bird time.
Eat a ham sandwich?
Bird time.
I don't understand.
Pretty bird.
Feather-brained dolt, you said. Okay. I heard, like, brother brain dolt. It's like, what? Is
Brother Tucker's grit fried bass.
Is that one of the monks out at Godfall? Brother brain dolt?
Difficult to say.
See, the Iron Republic seems like not a great place to bring a snow kid.
No.
And yet.
And...
Seek help for Rose. The dapper devil listens to Rose's story with glee. Oh, yes, I know just the thing. For a delightfully excessive price, of course. 3 Scintillac. Which is exactly how many I have. Convenient.
Consider it done, D-Man.
D-Man. A simple violation of nature's laws. Such a sweet child. And there's the problem. Sweetness never lasts. A drop on the tongue and pff, gone. No good at all. Bitterness, dear Rose, that's what you need. Ice must melt and snow must thaw, but nothing lingers quite like a good, hard grudge. Let me share one of my favorites, taken from a man who may never escape the smell of our burning roses. The devil whispers something not for your ears. The snow child's face fills with captivated horror. The devil smiles. Just so. Now, to hold it in place, I recommend, what do you call it? Heart metal. Yes, I hear your people have been doing delightfully terrible things with it lately, and for all the wrong reasons. A fine apprenticeship. We really must reconsider sharing some of our notes. Take them this with our compliments. Susan Cooper Longbox.
Excellent. That'll get you the heart metal you need.
Mm-hmm.
But you already did it during Artificial.
Yeah, I can repeat it.
I guess you can make another Trace of Black.
Yep. Lost 1 heart. No.
That's happened twice. Darn it.
I'm sure I'll
get something back eventually.
Yeah. Okay, well. Market of Hungers. Time to buy fuel.
So the Haunted Doctor has gone from being worth a bunch of hearts to being mostly worth having pages, I think. I don't think you have a doctor with 6 pages, though.
I don't think so, no.
So he's useful again.
Yeah.
And less stupid, I hope.
I hope.
That's kind of the point.
Mm-hmm.
Make him stop dumbing. He keeps dumbing.
Oh, hey, supplies are cheap here now.
Did you harvest? Yeah.
Yep. I'll buy an extra...
Well, remember, there's another place where supplies are deeply and truly cheap. If you wind up going that way.
Well, I mean, that's the way back to London.
Ah, fair enough. Supplies are cheaper, too.
Yeah. Well... I don't have any coffee, though.
Fair.
And it might not be worth going up to the surface just for 5 Echo supplies.
Oh yeah, you definitely want to go back south for coffee.
Well, let's see here.
Now, of course, mostly you need gas.
Yeah. Well, I figured as close as I am to London, probably will make gas back pretty easily.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
Which is why I was going
to. You need a few to get to London?
I have 25.
Oh, I thought you had less. You must have already bought some.
Yes,
Okay.
I did.
I thought you had 25 supplies. Nope. 25 gas. 24 supplies.
Yep, so I will buy 10 more supplies and call it good. Make for London.
Oh, before you do that, let me check the price on that wine and honey. That could be worth buying right now.
I don't think it is.
Trading in friends.
Like, I'm pretty sure it's cheap. The wine is cheaper in London.
Prisoner's honey, London 25.
Yep, cheaper.
That's 1 Echo cheaper. Great.
And I think the mushroom wine is 22 in London.
Mushroom wine. 21.
21. Yeah, no. Not buying those here.
Yep, wine doesn't get cheaper than lemon. Never mind. It's a good thing you had 3 Sunlight Garner.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you're not sufficiently close to Station 3 to grab that heart mill?
Not so close that it doesn't make more sense to go to London first.
I just hope the timer's not too nasty or isn't triggered like words or something.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely not worth getting a port.
Well, I mean, it's right on the way.
The perfunctory port report is worth 5 echoes.
Yep.
Of course, that's report. There's other stuff.
Yep. Let's see what I can...
Are you sure you don't want to kidnap someone after going through London Customs?
Does it actually make a difference?
I don't know if they trigger on you having someone kidnapped in your rig, but, you know.
And it'll be interesting to find out. That was Veils? Yeah, Veils. Succeeded. Oh boy, gained Menace's suspicion. So, you might be onto something. You can be charming when you exert yourself. You entice the surface sailor on board with promises of Z-stories and Neath delicacies, and bludgeon them over the head between courses. They fall gently into a bowl of sea lily soup. You order your crew to take the prisoner below decks and lock them up. They comply quickly enough, but you see them shoot dark looks at each other out of the corner of your eye. Well then. Is there anything else here? Yes, port report. Onward. Ooh.
Crab detected. Crab detected.
Yeah, crab's
Crab
going
escaping.
off. I don't care that much.
Actually, I guess it could have been a jellyfish, but it's probably a crab.
Yeah.
A lot of our old megalopsis this hard to see. Albert, I'm Gates. I'm slightly disappointed at the way the command canal works.
Oh?
Looking at that narrow path, like, I thought you had to...
Navigate it?
Yeah, like, you had to get, like, a smaller boat and just load it up with supplies and fuel so you can navigate the thing.
That would have been interesting. chill of avid horizon runs deep in Rose's locker. Rose now leaves small pools where it walks. The crew packs Rose's bed with ice, hoping to hold it together as it sleeps. The melting is at its worst then. Well, don't have much further to go on this, so... Oh, that's the plan. That's how you get butt shot. Okay.
Because the butt gun's stronger than the front.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna hurt.
If it shoots ya, it's gonna hurt.
In fact, I think either gun punch on bottom grabs.
Likely. The Revenue Man.
What you have on board that they would be interested in.
Well, unlocked with no more than 0 sunlight-filled mirror catch boxes, 0 unstamped crates of brilliant souls, 0 unstamped crates of human souls, and 0 romantic literature. I have none of those things, so go ahead. They roam your deck like wolves. They tear through your belongings like termites. At last they leave. That is typical. London. Reclaim it. New recruit. Engages anger.
Possibly hire someone to use.
2 more crew. That brings me up to 20. That's a good number. No, I'm not selling my long box.
Don't leave that.
Lodgings. Read the morning papers.
Oh wow, you just barely avoided a nightmare.
Uh-huh.
You must be at like 42 terror or so, maybe 48. Somewhere there. Down it goes.
Down to 27.
Oh my goodness, it was at 47.
It was at 48. Because reading the news brought it down to 47.
You almost got spooked.
Mm-hmm. I could try and submit the Shepherd's Isles thing as fact, but no. Lost 1 terror.
Crazy philosophers. Meow. Hey, I should stand right up to update the foolishness. Yes.
And that's all.
Ooh, can you make a vital intelligence out of your strategic information, or do you only have one?
I only have 1. Frostfound.
Got it.
And I'll go ahead and let him in on my move in the Great Game to gain another favor. Please don't send me to Bloody Frostfound. No, Frostfound is fine.
prisoner, 8 candles.
Person's hand hit.
Oh, someone who wants to play chess and he knows you picked him up.
Yep.
Need one more tomb colonist, god dang butt fart arse!
Mm-hmm.
God dang butt fart arse.
What is it? Must study? Must study. 10 outlandish artifacts for that. Okay. Not to that yet.
So many tails, especially if they're.
Mm-hmm.
Is that 3? That's 3 fragments. Oh, is that a... What's that thing underneath that metal?
What metal? Oh, that's extraordinary implications.
Ah.
Got 4 searing enigmas.
Nice. 6 green shiners.
6 green shiners? What?
Do the camera only.
What are you looking at?
Is that 6?
That's 8.
Ah, it's your phosphorescent nodules from Nook.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever the heck that thing to the left of it is. Looks like a ring.
The nephrite ring.
Ah, yes, got it. How that didn't come from anything's kidneys?
What?
Nephrites. It's the term for the kind of tissues that lead to kidneys in higher organisms.
It's also a type of stone. Okay, well, I have lots of supplies and lots of fuel. What else can and should I stock up on before I head out?
I am considering recommending flares.
Oh?
If you want to try butt gunning Z-beasts.
Nah.
It sounds effective, but it depends on how cheap flares are. I think it's fairly.
I don't think they're 10 echoes each.
Okay, 10 of them. Quite a lot cheaper than candles.
I just don't feel like they would do all that much.
I say get 3 more and give it a try. Next time you fight something interesting like an albino moray.
Also, do I have any control over what direction I fire flares in?
I'm not sure.
Because if I can only fire them in front of me, then they're not going to help with the butt gun all that much.
Oh, they will. Remember, you're steaming away from your enemy.
Yeah.
You're gonna go past the flare. It's gonna get lit up as it chases you,
Yeah.
and you're gonna gun it with your butt.
Well, there's also the fact that creatures seem to not chase me past a certain point. And if I'm fleeing, I'm likely to reach that point much faster.
Well, the idea is you kind of like switch between speed 1 and 2, so you don't like get too far ahead.
Right. But I'm saying I reach that point when I'm backpedaling, which is already slow.
I think it's fine. Let's see. Flares. Increasing the speed of your fires.
Oh yeah, and you said I should just sell Solace Fruit, right?
Yep.
Okay.
There was use for it, but those uses have faded.
There.
800 in the bank.
400.
Yeah, 400 in the bank.
Okay.
I still say maybe I'm going to give the technique a try, just to see how it plays. It might be better than you think.
Alright.
Or worse. I have no idea. Importantly, it'll be interesting.
I'll give it a try.
Especially for the audience. Trying something weird! Taste the power of the butt gun.
Oh. Let's get some mushroom wine. Mostly just to have it on hand. Because there are things that use it. Like if I want to stop in the place. Not the maw. The place with the maw, but that's not its name.
Nook?
Nook, thank you. Tom Nook.
Nuke. The place where you drop a duke.
No?
Drop a nuke.
Okay. Time to set out.
Station 3.
Yeah. Abbey Rock is right on the way, so I'll be making a brief stop there first.
There's a brief.
Just to pick up a port report. Abort. When I tell it to dock.
Oh, is that the button?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was like an automated thing when you hit the dock spot.
No. No, it's a button. Get it here. It up. Strange catch.
Beep, beep, beep.
Heavy rock. Do. Heavy rock. Report. Watch. And another strange catch.
Full steam. Let's save.
Snow child left behind. Damn it.
Exchange for heart building.
Heart metal heart? Not sure you've the measure of the damn stuff. The heart metal smith shrugs. No skin off my nose. Bring us an ingot, I'll shape it for you. For the snowlum, a heart. The smith hammers the ingot into a rough heart shape, leaving it to cool in a bucket of water. Not much time remains. Rose drips constantly now, leaving puddles as it paces up and down outside the gate. Fitting the heart is an unpleasant matter for all concerned, but what must be done is soon finished. At first, nothing seems to have happened. Soon, though, the drips stop. The wound heals. Rose looks up at you. Something new behind its crystal eyes. I think it worked. Rose smiles at you. It is time for its journey to begin at Irem, where all journeys east must depart. Snow Child will no longer melt.
Yay! How much is to go to Europe?
I guess I should make for Port Cecil to drop off the checkered person. Which means I should...
I made you seal it to
Yes.
I should read that first. If only you had another long box for a second piece of hard metal, you could get even more simple.
Well, I mean, I could stop at Fieldhaven and get another one real quick. Which, since she's not melting anymore, why not? Just,
Europe
Wait
definitely
around.
belongs at the end of the list. Because it's Europe. Also, doesn't nobody journey east because there's nothing east?
Something like that?
Like, the tales of people going east result in either salt or desperation and cannibalism.
Perfect timing. Report. Soothing coupon box.
Europe, not Dupe.
Dupe.
I just typed mindlessly in all caps.
Dupe! Good job.
Europe. Snow Child wants to start here. Bring coffee.
I will want to stop at the Khanate on the way then. Which,
You don't need it for a Snow Child's journey, but you're going to Europe.
yeah,
Drink a pot of coffee.
sure.
Just do it. Don't question it.
Small crib. Well, comparatively small crib.
Technically, it's a little smaller than
Yeah.
not that much.
Which makes it a very large crab, but
Yeah, because
by comparison.
you're running a freighter right now? It's not a small look, it's big. The engine you have on the boat you had before would have you going zoom. This boat, however, is big, and also all your cargo counts toward this weight as well, slowing down further. So together, you have like a lot of heavy boat, and it's slow.
Okay. Heart metal ingot. What did I want the heart metal ingot for? I know you said a minute ago.
Herp.
Oh right, the final move or whatever it's called.
Oh yeah, the missiles. Of course. I was like, crap, no, I've forgotten. Yeah, heart metal and fluid core lady.
Ah, big crab.
Yeah, I feel like sense lag. Ooh, wanna try the butt gun technique here?
Okay, sure, let's try it.
You open hostilities at the front gun, then run away and drop flares. Get crap at it.
Okay.
There. Oh, look at that go. Look at that go. Yeah, you have access to speed 2 when you're bucket. Oh, little boy is
That little boy.
and little boy's helping.
Trees. Choice cuts.
Plaintive, but satisfying. Sad meat.
Sad meat.
That feels creepy to say. I feel like that's a phrase that should never be uttered in earnest.
Lord. Hey, fuel and supply. 5 tear. A barrel of Murgatroyd's fungal crackers. A sack of coke. A tear-stained Bible. An odd slick of blood. Take what you can and leave.
Worrying. Yeah, that reveals another interesting tactic you could use
Hmm?
with Z-Beasts and the butt gun.
What's that?
Kite them around light sources.
Yeah.
That'll light them up. Like a light ship or...
Well, I mean, typically changing speed of firing solution is represented by changing color of thing. Yes,
I thought your Prowler sped it up too.
it does. But notice that
That's just green.
Prowlet. Yes, it's gold when it's not. Or, you know, yellow.
And it's flashy and ridiculous when it flares.
Actually, I think it's green when a flare's involved.
I've seen flares spaz ridiculously. When it was both your spare beer. You know, when fighting one of the super boats.
Yeah, that I always took that as like it was rapidly switching back and forth between the two states for whatever reason.
It's definitely not the same state though, because it would rampage up quick.
A curious sack, lamentable relic.
Sad. There's a thing there that can't be found. A human skull in the fish. Steve says, question, how long are you going for tonight?
What time is it?
It is 10:28.
Probably not that much longer, honestly. Probably won't be running too far past normal ending time, which is 11. Give the principal's heart medal. I long for my ending, but I fear it beside. This is needed to encase my fear. Ice and oysters, the trap jaws, give me courage. I want so to be less. Give it to me. Your payment is there in the your payment is there in the corner. And here in this secret, I was forbidden love by the bazaar when I left the world exile. But I don't regret it. I never regret.
Huh. So the shapelings were brought here by the bazaar for a price. So he says, okay, well, guess I'll just get food and prep for my own nonsense tonight.
Sorry. I'll just retreat. Unlucky, dang it. Oh well.
Yeah. Freaking shadowy panther looking things.
Mm-hmm. Alright, Khan's Shadow, Khan's Heart.
Con's fart. He'll keep watching them.
Yay. Thank you. Yeah, but you see it's green and then blinking.
And there it's just orange. But I mean, when you fought the pirate,
Mm-hmm.
and it was both the light of your flare and your prone,
It didn't seem to be any quicker than just the prow lamp.
Oh.
Also, it was flickering a bit with that, too.
See, it says, tastes the wrath of my rear emissions. Wait, I'm in cannon. Rear cannon. Yes, rear cannon.
My rear can. Wait,
Is that redundant?
yes. Port. The rest of those. Let's say that something awaits you for Khan's heart. Pick up some coffee while you're there. Mm-hmm.
Man, I wish you could play as Gohan. One finger on the monkey's paw. Who brought that thing in here? Oh no!
To the left, right quarter. Wander Khan's heart. Lost 2 terror. Dang. I mean, that's something, but...
Yeah, something weighs you is usually worth more than that, though.
Yeah.
And when you consider the effect of those
Oh, I
cigars...
should have done that.
When you consider the effect of those cigars that you can buy, that would work. Yeah, you just exchanged something weighs you for 6 cigars.
Yeah.
Candles, slightly cheaper here.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll buy your Serene Aquarium if you feel like making another one or something.
I'm not sure I can make another one. Like, the option isn't there in my place.
It's probably not there because you have one, but yeah, I can see no one.
Ew.
It's too useful.
Mm-hmm. 300 echoes isn't that much.
Not in the world where you're making stuff like it, yeah.
Yeah.
That kid looks identical to a white mollyflower.
Mm-hmm.
Probably has one swimming around in it. Since it's apparently a fish. Wow.
Meow.
Calico class merchant critter.
Mm-hmm.
That's not actually a sea, but with a name like Mao, it may as well be.
Yep. Okay. Let's swing by Gator's Morn real quick.
There you go, business there.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Send some pirates off to the watery doom and wreck.
Mm-hmm. Where did the Admiral want me to go this time?
Frostbound.
That's right.
I didn't even look it up. I remembered it for some reason. Nope.
Don't mind me. I'm just on my way out.
Go home, Trireme, you were drunk.
Trimaran.
Oh yeah, it's a little big for a Trireme.
Uh-huh. It also
I guess it could be for gold.
it also has smokestacks.
What, you can have a Trireme steamer? Try steam.
I thought triremes were generally road.
I'm sure they come in seal.
Lure the glory seekers to rack.
Ooh, 10.
Mm-hmm. Intelligence. And nothing awaits me, so north I go. Unless there's something I want to sell here. Not really.
Also, it's for stupid concealed compartments.
It wasn't the concealed compartment that was causing trouble. It was the secure compartment.
What?
Two different things.
Oh. Does the concealed compartment do the thing that I thought the secure compartment did?
Yes.
I'm still annoyed. That caused too much trouble. Stupid it. It's my fault now. Facts that I hate. Because I don't like them.
Excuse me. I'm likely to be sailing around quite a bit more, so we'll buy another 10 fuel here. Yep, and I'll get supplies elsewhere because I'm doing okay for them right now. Frostbound. How many mirrors do I want if I'm going into Frostbound?
Because you do have the option to give stories to get through. Because remember you plowed through far too early before?
Yeah. I just had no idea how far I actually got in there.
All the way.
I did? I forgot.
You just didn't have a judgment seg, so you can, like, get out of the final room. Yeah.
Oh, so I need another judgment seg to...
I think...
Well, double check that for me, if you would, please. Oh, I can't enter with terror greater than 20, and I'm sitting at 33 right now. So, oh well. Dang it. Mirrors 105 failed in a challenge. Perhaps the Riddle Fisher is trying to help. Perhaps they're trying to drive you out of your mind. You're forced to give up. The mission is a failure.
What did you see?
I tried to complete the commission, but it was either talk to someone from it was either talk to a Riddle Fisher. Yeah.
126 from mirrors and pages, effectively, for 100%.
I have
105. Yeah, that's just a bad roll. Aw, man. It's too bad you didn't succeed. That gives you strategic information.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's how those commissions do. They yield strategic information.
Which one did you go with? Withering?
No. The Riddle Fisher. Because my mirrors is much better than my pages.
Elliptical.
Events. Come here, buddy.
There's a series of linked riddles. You identify the linking factor as a prediction about who will win the contest between questions and riddles next year. Perhaps the Admiralty will find it useful. It's the closest thing to information about the balance of power this far north.
Okay, dude, what about the Judgment's Egg inside the thing?
Alright. No.
Also, somebody said something.
Demiser of D. Did you know you can right-click strategic information in your inventory and do stuff?
Yup.
Yep, you can combine it into vital intel,
Yup.
which is good for boosting the supremacy of one of the factions you might want to boost the supremacy of.
Mm-hmm.
Also, you get cash for it. Okay, so Sapphire Chamber. Step into the sky with veils over 25. That costs 1 veils.
Oof.
Recall other places where there is no sky. Eat a memory of distant shores. And on success, on failure, lose terror. On success, gain terror. Increase your terror to further penetrate the frostbound. There were casualties.
Well, I need less terror to be able to proceed anyway, so...
Yeah, with this gallery. Iron or a Z story.
So, on to the Chapel of Lights.
The cavity. A tale of terror. Everybody so. You can pay 7 fragments.
I'm not sure I have 7 fragments. And that's a small number. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Your page's score is 58. Which means
56.
Wait, your page's score modulates the number of fragments needed per secret?
Apparently.
Huh. Interesting.
And a Chinese bot just tried to add me on Steam.
Go home, robot. You're drunk. Does that mean when you're high on...
Cocaine. Casey Jones, you better watch your speed.
Get off that train. Does that mean when we've got a bunch of fragments, you can respec for pages and room secret?
Maybe?
Is that that's interesting?
Mount Nomad.
Nope.
Who looks like they might be stuck in a whirlpool.
Sort of. They'll get out.
Yeah. And it doesn't need to be right on top of me to hurt me anyway.
Oh yeah, they do.
Ooh, 5 supplies. Not right now.
Oh yeah, about fragments you can stack a point of mirrors to get further. That's yeah, you want to bring some fragments. Diamond Bridge. Vision of the surface will get you through. Yeah, the iridescence, you got your butt kicked. Because you can wrestle yourself and take a wound and lose a point of everything and gain 5 terror and...
Oof.
Yeah, that was just doopy. Alternatively, you can spend a Searing Enigma.
Hmm.
This is also where you can retrieve the mechanic's secret.
Yes, that was the primary reason I was wanting to enter. But if I was going to, I figured I may as well just go for it, you know.
And then finally, the Dark Room. But you can't simply just leave.
Hero.
You can also open a sunlight-filled mirror catch box in the Dark Room.
Huh. Voyage of the Snow Child. A small boat will be prepared for it at the docks. The traveler will depart. The crew will gather to see their snow child on its adventure, bringing it gifts for the journey. A few supplies none will miss, the occasional weapon. It will accept them all with gratitude, even as its mind begins traveling far beyond any map's border. I will row, Rose will whisper. I will take myself where the light beneath glass shines green and gold, past the beach where an exile recalls the warmth of suns he left behind. I will find the frozen forest and climb trees tall enough to touch the moon. I will remember you, Captain. The moment will break. Rose will board the boat and man the heavy oars. With a salute and a final smile, it will begin its journey. You will watch it go until the smile is just a memory, lost deep in the darkness.
Aw, poor monkey family lost her friend.
A searing ending, but 2 hearts and 2 pages.
Sweet!
Nice.
That was very worth it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, but I need the something awaits you to use the sack of dark drop coffee beans.
Ah, crud. Steve says, so did we just send her off to her end?
Not entirely clear.
Yeah, the snow child is made of unmelting snow. It's basically a golem. So I don't think she eats.
I could buy a judgment's egg for 10
Secrets?
10 secrets. That seems awfully expensive.
Secrets, expensive secrets. So let's see, if you do that, your terror is sliced in twain. You get an extraordinary implication. Okay, so I guess the extraordinary implication like that.
For a judgment's egg? That's not a good
no,
trade.
That's for a sunlight-filled mirror catch box.
Oh, okay.
You have the western stigma, the mark of the east, scars of the north, touch of the south. The dread surmise, letter of the names which burns. Oh, yearning burning? Yeah, if you do a thing... That's for another quest. We're gonna ignore that. Unveil a judgment's egg. Earth? Yeah, it cracks, some stuff happens. That will gain you a searing enigma at the cost of Judgment's Egg and set your terror to nil. If you have a star shell... Wait, if you don't have a star shell, you can get one. Requires mirrors of 100 or more.
Real quick, the trading loop here. Is it Scintillac for meter salt? Or was it Scintillac for sapphires for meter salt? Or was it sapphires for meter salt for
Sapphires
Scintillac?
for meter salt for Scintillac.
Okay, dang. Because I have Scintillac right now. Is why I ask.
Which formerly was possible to transmute back into more sapphires, which you can then multiply. Wait, which would, oh, I guess. Scintillac would multiply into sapphires, which you then multiply into meteor salt, and then transmute. Yeah, it was madness.
Yeah, okay. Well, let's see here.
Wait, maybe you still do that. Yeah, it was something where you like got more for your Scintillac than selling it for 70 that you can't do anymore. So you can multiply your Scintillac and sapphires again and again and make a lot of money.
Yeah.
In fact, selling it as sapphires would probably be more effective. Yeah, the mirror salt and then the sapphires. It's limited by hold space. Or if you want it to be completely ridiculous, keep doing the circuit selling half each time.
Mm-hmm. Darkness.
If your hearts are greater than 25 and your mass's wounds is 3 or more somehow, you're mortally wounded. You will die when you wake. Here in the dark, you can feast, committing an unpardonable sin, and live. You'll feast only on memory, but your wound too is a memory. It's the taste of higher flesh. Your mouth is stained of golden blood. It will be gone when you wake. Oh, the heart of it. The heart of it. You swell of light. Perhaps you will live forever. Lose a wound, lose 15 hearts, EMS uncountably peckish, and cancer-searing enigma. If you're defiant of the gods, you escape and lose all your terror. Fumbling in the darkness is a slightly dangerous luck challenge. On a successful event, which I think is what happened to you the first time you went in, your hand closes on memory.
Oh, hey, I'm able to participate in another hideaway festival.
Oh, neat.
I've done the silent reel and the rainbowing, so it's time for the hour of our reflection. There's a dweller too ancient and too mad to help maintain hideaway. Right, I've read that description previously, so let's...
Festival's begun!
The dwellers of Hideaway have collected rubbery, pliable fish flesh and piled it in the festival square. Once the theme is announced, the dwellers pick out the choicest material from which to build their offerings. Join in. You don't know enough of their culture to risk something more adventurous. A miniature Tim-Tum is sure not to give offense. From the pile of debris, you pick out fresh slabs of meat and sharp spines. It isn't difficult to slice the pale flesh into roughly the shape of Tim-Tum. The spines do an admirable job of holding your Tim-Tum together, too. The near-forgotten betrayer across from you beams at your work. He tries to avoiding looking at the blithe fiddler beside him, who crams spine after spine into the man-shaped slab he's created. Gained 1 terror and 1 tale of terror. cut your hand. The near forgotten betrayer next to you bites his thumb until the droplets of blood ooze. It isn't an offering without something personal. You scratch the palm of your hand and a streak of blood swells up. You squeeze it onto the lump of flesh you're working on. There, a scarlet mark runs between Tim Tum's eyes. Others around you are more generous, slicing deep into their fingers, then daubing the blood onto their offerings with tenderness. Their expressions are beatific. Is that right?
Something like that.
Others force a smile, chew at their nails, and spit the pieces into their offerings. Explain your offering. A parade to a black, guttering hole begins. Each creator takes a moment to name their offering before throwing it into the offering pit. They name their offerings in turn. 1,000 helping fingers for my neighbor. The miracle that brought me here. Deportment. You show the developers. That gave Remy a concern. I'm sorry, Remy.
It was weird. I agree. You're right, Jay.
You show the dwellers of Hideaway your offering. It was difficult with the limited materials, but you've managed to give the lump of meat and guts a passing resemblance to the shape of Tim Tum. They seem pleased, but more impressed by your skill with their sign language. You managed to convey that Tim Tum is important even to you, a stranger. Your offering is the last to go down the offering chute. The suggester gestures their wish for the good health of all, Tim Tum most especially. The people of Hideaway take this as their cue and depart. Oh boy, 7 memories of distant shores.
Everybody's all nervous.
Buy a memento from the slow-blinking vendor. Sure. Actually, no, I should conserve my supplies.
Yeah, I remember this one. It's only possible once, apparently. Your hand closes on a memory. Long ago, a hungry monarch built a castle. The monarch saw a light in the south, in the palace of the South's queen. In those days, hungry as the monarch was, that light provoked nothing but appetite. She was too far to devour. Over time, their correspondence calmed the monarch, and when the time came for the monarch to depart, the monarch's appetite was transformed, like blood into tears. You have one word from the Queen's correspondence. She won't be pleased. This gets you Stone's Curse.
Oh!
A searing enigma, 1 heart, and Doom, Frostbound's core.
Oh, also, I think you might be somewhat mistaken about the,
You spoiled the secret place.
the sapphires for meter salt here. 'Cause it's nothing.
Ooh. Did you already break the shops?
I don't remember there ever being shops here.
I think there had been. The Exile Bazaar. Place of refuge. The people of Highway have little to offer, just some oddities from the Z-bed. Sapphires for meter salt. Foxfire candles for 35 echoes. Fuel for 9 echoes. Supplies for 18 echoes.
Well, it's not there now.
Crud. Trying to avoid doing that.
So I guess we should push this then, since that's no longer a thing we can do.
Yep, you can either work with the Sprightly Visionary or the Battle of Hearts and Minds.
I feel like the War for Hearts and Minds is probably the better option, just because, yeah, the city's going to tear itself apart soon, it seems like. Or rather, Tim Tum is going to tear the city apart as he sheds his shell. Would you agree with me?
I don't know what that does. The truth is that all's well in Hideaway. No one knows otherwise. Which does what? That just takes you back to Hideaway. I'll leave this up to you.
All right.
So much for the hilarious triangles, right? Honestly, you've done it once or twice.
I have?
Yeah, like last week or the week before.
I don't think I visited Hideaway at all last week. And I'm pretty sure I didn't... Like, I know we set out to at one point, but then I got somewhere and I realized, oh shoot, I forgot to do the thing at Hideaway, but I need the space. I'll just sell stuff here.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Yep.
That's disappointing and I'm disappointed.
On the night of the festival, you join the dwellers of Hideaway around a large wooden model of Tim Tum placed in the festival square. Some people exchange shrugs, others twiddle their thumbs politely. Eventually, the impolite investigator appears on a balcony overlooking the square. He shouts a hello. The dwellers wince, but maintain their customary smiles. Hideaway, he shouts, is doomed. This is a biological fact. Tim Tum has already begun to outgrow his shell. Our home. Everyone needs to evacuate before... He gives you a nod. You set the model ablaze, and it begins to crack apart and fall to ruin. The dwellers scream. The sprightly visionary turns his back on the spectacle and walks away. He taps a few cablemen on the shoulder. They follow him. The rest of the people of Hideaway stand idly, watching the wooden city crack and burn. The truth will be fought over during the silent reel. You've heard a rumor from your crew. The investigator and his followers will play break the silence of the silent reel. They will sing songs about the doomed city. I'll provide supplies, I suppose. Provide the investigator with an full orchestra. He mustn't merely sing the truth. His message requires a full accompaniment. The work never stops and the nightly festivals continue, but the dwellers' gestured communication has become sharper, more abrupt. Their faces are contorted with tension. Your music echoes through the normally silent city. Its rhythm disrupts the harmony of the festival dancers. They stumble and stop. The master of the dance tries to rally the revelers against you. He doesn't even remove the ribbon from his mouth as he approaches. But no one else joins him. Those who haven't abandoned the dance hall just stand watching the ribbon unspool. The hour of our reflection. You've heard a rumor from your crew. The visionary has set a patrol around the suggester. Apparently, the investigator is attempting to entreat the suggester to speak the truth of Hideaway. Join the investigator and entreat the suggester. The suggestion is used to make the people of Hideaway consider only their gratitude towards Timtum. The suggester mustn't be weak-hearted. They must be honest for the good of all they love. Pained creation. Perhaps you cannot get past the guards to see the suggester personally, but you can shout. As the festival commences, the suggester looks dully into the crowd. The suggester scarcely draws breath. And when they sign the topic of today's reflection, broken city shells, an unprecedented murmur breaks out among the dwellers. Nevertheless, the people still gather materials and begin work. They have become accustomed to focusing their thoughts through artistry. Some handle the sharp spines carelessly, catching their skin. A few craft Timtum without his city shell, and douse him with tears. When the time comes for them to describe their pieces, most merely chuck their offering down the pit without ceremony. Thanks to the efforts of the sprightly visionary, the upcoming Rainbow Festival will be an unparalleled spectacle of color, unless the investigator can destroy the visionary's kaleidoscopic lights. Haha. The investigator is organizing an assault on the sprightly visionary stronghold. The visionary has created a display of colored lights for the rainbowing. They will be well defended, but there may be another way. You lead the impolite investigator's followers to a building behind an iron gate. Though your force is not strong enough to break past the contingent set up by the visionary, it is sizable enough to distract them. As they fight, you clamber over the gate and climb up the cracks in the building to enter through an open window. Inside, the sprightly visionary consults a map on his wall, leaving unattended a brass panel of switches and gauges. You smash it with a wrench and leap back out the window. But when you land, there is rumbling, screaming from the festival square. Everyone runs to the violence. Even the visionary leaves his center and dashes to the scene. All of Hideaway is gathered in the festival square around tables of gaudily colored food. A hair-thin crack runs across the ground where one never was before. Join the impolite investigator. He stands on a raised platform at the center of the crowd. He gestures for you to join him. The dwellers of Hideaway have come together around the investigator. Some are shocked enough to have broken into speech, but all fall silent when he raises his hands. You know the truth. The city is cracking apart. If you want to survive, you must leave. And knowing what you endured down here because you wanted to live, I've no doubt what you'll do next. I don't know where we can go, the investigator tries to smile. I don't have answers, only questions. I'm sorry. The people leave in tears. Only the sprightly visionary stands tearless, trembling with rage. By morning, there's not an emergency bathysphere or submarine left in the city. Hideaway is empty. Timtum alone. Gained a secret, hearts, pages. She's still here, sat in the street, selling her wares. The impolite investigator stands by the sprightly visionary. Everyone else is gone. Will you take us? Asks the investigator. The visionary only glowers.
I like the Bloomington thing. You make an offer 10 times from company.
Will you take me to the Salt Lions? Asks the investigator. It may be our friend here, the visionary sneers. He presses a request into your hand. It reads, You triumphed, but I'll remain here. One request. Find the Governor of Wisdom, remove his mask. Tell him his captain orders him to Hideaway. I say I swear by Lady Miriam the consequences will be morbid if duty's neglected. Huh.
Oh, Timtum will be lonely.
Oh.
Is that why the city exists? Like, the guy found a lonely crab and wanted to give it company?
I don't know.
Barely a blown can give it company.
Okay, well, festival. Oh, what have we here? flying thing.
Explodey boom boom, yeah.
Can I investigate? No, it just explodes.
For 25 vouchers.
It could be worse.
What if you get a shot at it? Vouchers and not to show for it is kind of a stain.
Yeah. I should gather supplies. Lost one crew, as I expected.
Exotic delights.
Okay. There was something I wanted to go to the Kellenate for, so I'll just head south. I'll be able to get more fuel at the gas pole for a good price.
Yeah, you're right.
Or decent price, anyway.
Your cook there wanted to go get some tips from the boatman.
That's right. That's what it was.
Which sounds like he's after arrow-making components from skeletons. Skeletons! Yeah!
Ah, Lornflug. No, no, no.
If you had more HP on you, I'd say rest it by your
Yeah, but I don't. Mm-hmm. Find someone to teach secrets of butchery to the bandaged poissonnier. First, compile a report. A bone man shows you the glyphs cut into his white-dusted palms. They mean separation, he tells you. He will instruct your chef if you can prove your worth. When the poissonnier returns to the ship, he is red to his elbows. I have learned what I need to know, he says, his voice haggard. Back in the galley, he throws away all his knives but one. You watch it slice, skin, bone, and butterfly, as precise as a surgeon's scalpel, as quick as a minnow. Flesh goes one way, skin and organs another. As the crew dine, he seeks you out. It goes well, my captain. I have my initial ingredients. I have my skills. But the flavors I pursue must be coaxed forth, like a hermit crab from its shell. I am afraid I need very particular seasoning. Mutter salt and zoop. They sell the foam right with her, where the salt pools fizz and pop. Zoop is made at Mount Palmerston. Its composition is a secret, but anything that can be combined can be separated again with the right equipment.
Alright.
Okay.
So, you want some meteor salt, which is no longer as easy to get as it was. And Zoop.
I can do that. Next up, polythrene. Unless I wanted to try fighting that weird skeletal asshole. Intelligence. Carry claim into London. Hold on. Where did that guy want me to take him? There he is. Salt Lions, that's right. College next.
Anyway, serves a different purpose if you have a different ambition. The visionary was up to something.
I see.
You've ruined that plan.
Off to wisdom. Shrek.
Very successful events. Fumbling in the dark. Shaking days. Your hand closes on memory. Long ago, your monarch built the castle. But the dragon ate them. The monarch sent more messengers, shaking his magazine. Melian were near. But the dragon ate those too. Then the hungry monarch found the dragon's name. And the dragon had to listen. It didn't do either. You have one syllable of the Thunder Dragon's name. It won't be pleased. Storm's curse.
Oh boy.
Plus a searing enigma and 1 iron.
Schmeat. Unmask the governor and present the summons to Hideaway. The governor is a ferocious, feared man. Do you dare honor the sprightly visionary's request? Go for it. When you pass through the last gate of brass and iron, the governor does not welcome you. He only sits, unmoving. You approach. He raises a hand. You leap to his desk and rip off his mask. Hello. You've seen his scarred face elsewhere. Polythreme has a high bounty on his head after he captured their vessels long ago and led them to their doom in some forgotten escapade. The governor roars and pulls a pistol from beneath his desk. Before he can fire, you relate the sprightly visionary's orders. He stands, knocking over his high-backed chair. I will begin gathering my men at once. He bows deeply.
Alrighty. Done. That disarmed him entirely.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and I have the prisoner to deliver to the Isle of Cats. So I'll hit Visage first.
Now, so next time we get Sapphires, best sale is now chilling.
Okay.
Bound shark.
Yeah, I may as well fight it. I was kind of debating, but I do need to, in fact, if I can lead it over like it is.
Use the flaring butt gun thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a well-lit shark. Stunned.
Oop, oop, oop. Nope, nope. Let's get away. Gotta turn back and use my forward gun.
Sure.
Not before he hit me, but
16. Oh, it ate a group.
oof. Lamentable relic. Gee. I wonder whose skull that could be. Alas, poor Yorick.
I hate it. Jade, you get out of there for Searing Enigma. Mirror Catch blocks, you get out of there for Extraordinary application.
Visit the Library of Parts. Study the scrolls in a bumbling way.
Yes. 3.
Taking the nearest, you read it aloud for guarding against the loss of the heart. Moonmoth takes it from you, rolls it tightly, and returns it to its niche. There are as many ways of guarding against the loss of the heart as there are different masks, it explains, in that same light and indifferent voice. Trade masks with the Moonmoth. Expertise in parts quality is now 4. I'll try it. Yay. 5. You tell a frog a partially true story about how this face was carved. The frog replies with an amplified belch and a story it heard about the sphinxes known as the salt lions. It's really a very good frog.
Silently observe the light.
Yeah, I've done that one before, and it didn't,
Okay, that does new one.
no. I'll try that. Succeeded! The pictures tell a story. This is the face of a woman, flourishing of years, who was once loved by one of the nobles inhabiting this island. But then she... what's this pictogram? Ascended, bloomed, flew away, and consumed with grief he assembled those who carve great things from stone, and remade the whole surface of the island. There are several more lines after that which narrate the cost of the labor contract for the workers, and what was done with all the stone that was carted away, and the compensation given to those who had formerly owned houses on what was now Face territory. Meditate on the meaning of the face. I haven't done this one before. It offers many forms of inspiration. The citizens give many meanings to the face. Perpetual beauty, stasis, the idea of looking upward into an unyielding darkness. But most of all, they speak of the idea of someone above looking down. The face is not convenient to view from down here. No, wait, I have done this before. It would look its best from the perspective of the ceiling of the Untersee, beyond reach. You've gained one intriguing snippet. Oh, I say, someone will be interested.
I'll see your expertise in parts of 7 now.
Yep.
Darn Festival.
Nope. The other citizens are distracted. You find your way to the familiar customs house and rid yourself of mask and robe.
Boo.
And I see it's not doing the flickering thing now. Five supplies. And another... Oh, no, wait, that's finished opening a cache of curiosity. Peaches!
5 supplies, plus most of the supplies as your hunger was, like, kind of high.
Nice.
Says we can't stop here. This is face territory. Hey, it's me! Face! Remember the horrible talking rectangle from Nick Jr.?
I don't think it was quite as screechy as that. It was more like the... No, that was terrible. Face! Like, the only thing I can say in that voice is face.
Of course.
Why?
Trying to think of another silly thing to say it's sort of bad, but all I found was idiocy. What is that I said for?
Gift for the Pirate King. Your patron is overjoyed at your return. Eager to meet Leopold, are we? Courtesies due. Hand over your writhing, tear-stained cargo. Two attendants drag the prisoner off to the rose garden. You do your best to ignore the screaming. Your patron tells you that it will take some time for your gift's memories to be harvested, and the resultant honey collected. You should return later for your introduction to the Pirate King. 200 echoes and gained 20 terror. Dang it.
You did a terrible thing. Yeah, not surprised.
What might one expect from Leopold, Pirate King of the Isle of Cats? A hulking, grizzled presence with a crimson cat tattooed across his back? An oil-bearded wretch with a brace of pistols strapped to each hip, and eyes like wildfire? A gaunt-cheeked honey-seeker wasted from years of dissolution? He looks, as it turns out, more like a lawyer than a dissolute lord, though he is at least wearing a robe of patterned silk over his dark suit. Behind him you see a wall of what you think are wine racks. On closer inspection, the racks hold bottle upon carefully labeled bottle of red honey. Captain's compliments, my king. Isery enters with a wine glass of thick honey. Behind them, Zaira drags in a stumbling prisoner. It is the sailor you stole from the Cumaean Canal, only they do not seem to recognize you at all. Your patron offers the Pirate King the wine glass. The king takes a sip, and the prisoner cries out as though his skin is being flayed from his bones. The spice-scented docks of Malacca, Leopold breathes before he is plucked away by the honey. He returns hours later, skin flushed and eyes bright. I am very partial to memories of the Far East. Very thoughtful of you. He bestows a humming, honey-soaked kiss on Isery's lips, and then Zaira's, before holding out the vial to you. Take a sip. The prisoner gazes at the ceiling blankly, with no sign of his earlier distress. Or decline the taste, you just want your reward, and possibly to get away from the grim sight of the prisoner rattling his shackles in the corner. I would be rude to refuse. Each luscious drop coats your tongue like fire and longing. Someone screams, but it feels far away. You are consumed with the touch of a woman's hand in yours. You in the memory turn your face to the right, and there she is. Kimbang. You met her 3 weeks ago serving drinks by the docks. Her father threatened to break your legs if you so much as looked at her, but you cannot help yourself. Her hands are softer than anything you have ever imagined, and dappled in warm sunlight. The curve of her smile slices into you like a blade. You come back to yourself in a sudden rush. You are lying on the floor alone, your face wet with stolen tears. On the desk, a key to the cage gardens, which you slip into your pocket, and a gold statuette of a tiger with eyes of polished ruby. Something about the statuette makes you decidedly uneasy. Still, it will probably sell for a good price. Key to the cage gardens and a captivating treasure. And 10 visions of the surface. Compile a port report. And that'll be all here.
Short report from Port Banana.
Port Banana?
Cavendish.
Alright. Okay, next, Fathom King's Hold.
Fathom King's Mold.
Oh... Then eventually, gradually, back to London. Not directly back to London, but that is the leg of the journey that we are on. Trade for a white molly flower.
You know, have 6 of those.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of weird white fish.
Yep. Towards the Iron Republic.
Oh, they're curiosities. Okay. So having some on you is really not much.
Nope. Hi, guy. That's unfortunate. Get back. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, okay. Firing straight this time.
What about ZPs? There's the flicker.
Yeah, it's doing that because it's right on the edge of the cone of light. So it's in equivalence.
Supplies and fuel. Best out creative fuel. Neat.
Cool.
Kinda needed some.
Yep.
Getting dangerously low, actually.
I mean, we're headed towards the Iron Republic, so we're fine.
Let's go to places we got that one dangerously low. And I guess we can go south for coffee to the surface.
I'd honestly rather just go back to London.
Washington's a nice
Yep, lost one terror. I realize it's dangerous, but I'm willing to... Honestly, I'm willing to risk a nightmare. Nothing bad came from the last one, so...
What is this? Whoops! Maybe you'll run into something spooky enough that you get to meet the lady in lilac. You're not seeing her.
Nope.
Because you rarely have terror sending.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, after the...
Excuse me. That was a cough.
Disaster at Guider's Morn. But, fairly worried about
Gained 1 pages. Tale of Terror and a Memory of Distant Shores.
the Gesundheit conspiracy. Lovely!
To record the Republic's events, it's like trying to sing wax or believe water. You do what you can. The third paragraph buds eyes. The date is fundamentally wrong. The full stops bite. You do what you can. Hunger quality is gone. Let's buy some fuel. And some supplies since they're cheap. It's the House of Harvests again. There, that'll do. And the heck are you doing?
This.
Freaking
Fine, old jerks.
old jerks indeed. Need to find one more of you. Then I'll have my jeg. I'll have my jeggings.
All this work.
Oh my-
Egg.
Yep.
What was it for again?
For the gun.
Yeah, the gun.
For the cannoneers. Story.
Yeah, the engine requires the crap ton of ivory.
Mm-hmm.
Which you can't just buy if you really want
Wait, which engine?
to. The Fulton Impelling. It also requires getting the guy out of wisdom.
Yeah.
And then doing something ironic to him.
Arresting him?
More ironic than that.
Sneaking him back into wisdom?
Less stupid than that. A parallel jellyfish.
Eating him.
More ironic than that. And less right.
Hey, moving the radio.
That involves the engineer's engine and screaming.
We put him in the engine?
Ding 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 ding. He's a component.
Strange.
Isn't that disturbing?
Scoop it up. Yeah, another strange catch.
Just keep catching these weird fish down here. They're so weird.
Weird fish.
This one has like 6 fins.
Weird fish.
Caught it in the undersea.
Weird peasants. I don't know. That's as close as I could. That
Pescados, Unidos.
peasants would just be like the nature of being a fish.
In essence. Peasants.
Well, you know, like science is the nature of knowing. Peasants would be the nature of fish. Nature of being a fish.
Yeah, swim around, breathe water. Fish ways.
Fish ways.
Like a fish do.
They do.
Fish.
I can confirm this.
You don't stop. You don't stop. Fish. Well, there's a well. Holy shit, it's a well. There's a well. Well, ho. A vast cetacean. Cetacean needed. Okay, yeah, that's stupid.
I kind of want to open up some random whale article on Wikipedia and just inject somewhere in there cetacean needed. Oh, the alarming scholar has invited you to call on him at the university. Okay, it's always been there.
Okay.
Well, not
It
always.
only pops up when you have like stuff right.
No, rather it's been there ever since I delivered the Devilus to London. Yay! It only got up to 46 apparently. Dong boxes.
On box silver. They got broccoli cheddar soup. Cheddar soup.
What?
Hey, it said it was a secret. They didn't say it wasn't soup.
A new recruit. A Zaylor. The alarming scholar. 2 supplies. Yay.
Neat.
And wasn't it intriguing snippets that don't do any good except for to give to the scholar?
Might have been. Intriguing snippet. You can sell them for 50 echoes and a fragment. If they present Aquarian, that's it.
Okay.
Gesundheit.
Thank you.
You can also use your ambiguous seal lifts here.
Yeah, so I can.
They have other uses, but you've used them for that.
Okay. 1 echo.
Sometimes 70.
Oh, okay.
An accident. The product of nature, not artifice.
Interesting, nevertheless. I have the very shelf for it. What if you could bring me something worked, not evolved next time? Same again. Okay, well.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah. Perhaps not.
What about extraordinary applications?
Hire on more crew. I know I can turn 5 of those into a Searing Enigma.
Which is worth much more than the 250 you can get from him. Get them. That one. 5 can be traded at Wincome Calling for a Searing Enigma. Yep. And sometimes they sell at Roser's Wharf for 375 echoes. Which is technically worth it, because then you can rebuy it in Irem for 42 echoes less. Roser's Wharf just gives, like, a good price for that extraordinary application.
Before I dive back. Oh yeah, plenty of room. Plenty of room.
Inventory charts are worth 250. Darkspecker Admiral, and that is it.
Yes, well, we did rather know about his rose gardens. Not good news that they're prospering, though. Really should have nipped it in the, if you'll allow me, bud. Huh. I'm trading with the Conet, with the Iron Republic. Bother. I may have to have a meeting about this.
Not a meeting.
A mooting.
No.
Should also repair. Kellinate. Lost 5 terror. I always love that. Wisdom. Remy. Don't be getting up on my desk.
Kitty. Ooh, lamentable relics can be converted into 2 moves at the Great Game when something waits you in here. Otherwise, they're worth 5 echoes to the Alarming Scholar.
Yep. Okay, Avid Horizon is where the Admiral wants me to go next.
Got it. Again.
Yay. Repaired.
Outlandish artifacts are
matter-
worth 100 echoes,
Or
basically.
a matter for the courts.
Convert 10 into an heirloom?
Yep.
That's 1,000 echoes.
That's what I've been doing with them.
Wait, the Zong of the Z is usable?
For what?
I thought it was a win condition. But no, it's a ship equipment, $10 stats.
Dude.
What if it's like a legacy thing? It's like winning condition and it goes to your next captain.
Maybe. But it does use all of the other things, the anatomical cabinet and the whispering trophy case and the monstrous almanac and the serene aquarium. Those are all used in its construction.
And a few
so.
specific parts, a dread surmise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots of things go into it, but
40 secrets, 77 Z stories, memories of distant stars, and tales of terror.
that Song of the Sea just replaces those things. So I go from having 5 things that I swap out whenever I want a particular stat to one thing that gives more to all of them.
Oh, it's victory if your ambition is to become London's most venerated explorer.
Ah.
I was like, I thought that was a win condition. Okay.
Only for a particular ambition. A particular role. Because I can talk.
Oh, funny. Trinkets Just Trinkets has a chance of sorrow spiders hatching from them and threatening your ship mid-voyage.
What? Obtain an eyeless skull from a forgetful archaeologist. Got it. The magician has become your viceroy? What?
The skull is tainted if you go, which will damage your primary abilities. Don't purchase it unless you're sure you really want it.
Yeah, no.
Oh, I think you have an eyeless skull.
I do.
You don't need another one.
I was just coming here to see what else there was to do here. And was confused about the magician. I was confused that this was still here.
Okay, yeah.
And the fact that the magician has become your viceroy.
That is a confusing value for learning about the magician there. I agree.
The magician has become my dinner.
Like, the text makes it pretty clear that he's not around anymore.
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? Does unread logs in? 20 echoes.
I've been using them in the hut to manipulate my hut stats. The hut stats.
They're also usable to gain access to the port at Adam's Way for one day.
Oh yeah. I don't go to Adam's Way very often. I should do that more. Anyway, I think that's everything. Everything.
All the things?
Yep. I'm back in London. I've delivered all my stuff. Made port reports. Right, I need muter salt. If you haven't already made note of that.
I have.
Very good. And you have where I'm going next for the Admiral?
I've certainly... There it is. Advertising. I
That's
was
right.
trying to remember it with my brain. But I certainly typed it. Advertising, it says.
Good, good. Okay, then. I think that we are done here for tonight. Thanks for watching, everybody. I'll be back tomorrow at 3 pp. 3 pp.
3 PPPO.
3PO. Yes. 3 PPO.
Guidewish 3 PP would. You should not be laughing so much at that garbage joke of stupidity.
Think about the way it came out of your face a little more. Anyway.
Oh, no!
Yes! Anyway, tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern, holding court, continuing Mass Effect 3. I'll be back Saturday, probably no early throne, because like I said in the channel earlier, my fever has been going crazy today, like higher than usual, And I'm definitely feeling it.
Steve says, amazing. Shut up!
And so, feeling up to the presence of a small child is unfortunately a little bit beyond what I'm feeling, I think. But that evening, I will double check with folks, but we might be up to continuing Bahamut Lagoon. We shall see. If not Bahamut Lagoon, more 2 Point Hospital.
See, says typical Daniel moment.
Yep.
Shut up!
Oh, you didn't catch that. Anyway, and of course, next Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern, more of this. Holding court all week long. Well, every weekday, 3 p.m. Eastern. Yeah. Hope to see you all then. Good night, everybody.
Good night.